Wysteria, energy, twister.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This story is called Blood Song by Jaleta Clegg. Wookiees, we need help to sing the blood song. The shout echoed through the snowy forest, shivered down the moonlit paths. Wookiees stirred deep in his cave. He flung one giant hand to the side before huffing a clouded breath. His eyes fluttered, then closed again. The deep rumble of his snores once more filled the stone cave. "Wookiees!" The call came again, this time from multiple throats. "The solstice is upon us! The night has come! The blood song must be sung!" Wookiees grunted, rolling his back to the entrance of the cave. He was tired of blood, worn from years of ritual. His breath curled the long white of his beard. Dwarves with stubby legs and pointed caps of faded red crept from the bushes surrounding the cave. Their pointed boots left smudged impressions in the snow as they gathered near the stones marking the entrance. Tall pillars of granite, they had weathered centuries. Carvings shadowed their sides, blurred by time. "Blood song," the dwarfs whispered. Wookiees grunted as the words wormed into his consciousness. "Blood song, blood song, blood song," they chanted. Wookiees opened his eyes. His jaws cracked in a gaping yawn. He stumbled from his cave. His hands brushed the standing stones. Ragged nails traced the markings. Ruins glimmered with red fire. But pale and weak, the blood song was dim in his mind. The little men fell silent, crouching just beyond the glow. Their eyes shimmered in the dark night as they watched Wookiees emerge. "It is time," the leader said. "We need help to sing the blood song." Wookiees lifted his lip in a sneer, exposing his largest tusk. The leader of the pointed caps rose to his feet. He barely reached the knees of Wookiees. "The time has come. Bring forth the robe. Sing the blood song." Dwarfs scurried from the forest. A long robe dragged through the snow behind them, red with white fur trim, blood on the snow. Wookiees crouched, let the small men clamber over his back. The red fur cloaked his hairy, twisted body. He rose to his feet. The robe swirled around him, sweeping the tiny men from their perches to tumble across the snow. They laughed as they rolled, red caps marked with white frost. "Bring forth the sleigh!" The lead dwarf raised his hands in the air. Hoofs crunched on frozen snow. Runners hissed as they slid over the icy surface. The reindeer snorted clouds of steam into the night. Bells carved from bone added to a hollow clacking. "Blood song," the dwarves chorused before falling silent. Wookie shuffled forward, ponderous and slow in his massiveness. The sleigh creaked under his weight as he climbed aboard. The reindeer twitched, hoofs kicking snow into spouts of glittering crystals. "Blood song," Wookiees rumbled. His shaggy head nodded, but the beat of blood moved sluggish and old, faded by years. Pointed caps were flung into the air, then caught before the stubby dwarfs clambered onto the sleigh. "Blood song!" they howled together. The whip cracked. The reindeer leapt forward. The sleigh lurched into motion. The wild hunt raged across the snow. Wookiees laughed, deep in his belly. Once a year, on the night of winter solstice, he donned his red cloak and rode on his sleigh. Once a year, the world trembled and hid. Once a year, the blood song howled forth upon the land. Once a year, a sacrifice waited in the village. The sleigh hissed across the snow-packed road. Golden light spilled across the snow from the open door of the church. The tall building, with pointed steeple and coloured glass windows, was new. The stone cross that marked the boundary stood proud. Its rings were deep, sharp, breathing with power. Wookiees pulled his sleigh to an abrupt stop. Reindeer pawed and stamped the icy crust of snow. The dwarves leapt from the sleigh, circling the cross, sniffing the warding magic. They howled in a wordless cry to the moon, confused rage. Where was the sacrifice? Where was the blood song's power? The red robe brushed the snow as Wookiees descended from the sleigh. He towered over the dwarves. His shadow enveloped the stone cross. Still it glowed with a shimmer of blue light. Wookiees flared his broad nostrils at the stench of new magic. Villagers filed from the church, stepping carefully with the golden fingers of light. Blood song! Dwarven voices howled as they capered at the feet of their master. Wookiees glowered at the villagers. A small girl, yellow hair glowing like gold, walked towards Wookiees. She held a carefully folded napkin on her outstretched hands. Something lay within the cloth. Wookiees flung his arm wide, stopping the child next to the stone cross. I do not eat children, he said. Send another for the blood song. The village priest, a new one in the long robe of white, stepped from the crowd. We do not sing the blood song, not here. We sing a new song. We demand blood, the dwarf shouted. The child stepped closer to Wookiees. Her blue eyes were innocent, wide, and totally devoid of fear. She lifted her hands and the cloth bundle they held. It is a new sacrifice, the priest spoke. Wookiees hushed his dwarves with an impatient sweep on his hand. He used one jagged claw to delicately unwrap the bundle. It fell free to expose a crude man figure made of brown dough. Raisin eyes stared upwards. The thing smiled in perpetual joy. The dwarfs muttered, an angry jumble of noise. Wookiees drew the scent of the dough man into his lungs, tasted it on the frosted air. Strong spices bit his tongue, promised new pleasures, new sensations. He swiped the cookie from the girl's hand and bit off the head in one quick motion. The dwarfs froze in place. Eyes wide in horror, the villagers watched, silent behind their priest. The little girl smiled up at the Wookiee as he chewed. Ginger and cinnamon, nutmeg and cardamom exploded in his mouth. Wookiees closed his eyes and savoured the newness. No tang of copper, no hot rush of blood, but instead warmth of spice and sugar. His lips curled up at the edges. He nodded his shaggy head. Blood song, the dwarfs whispered. Gingerbread song, Wookiees answered, as he shared pieces of the offering. Better than blood. The dwarfs eyed the strange offering. White sugar icing dripped like blood from the ragged edges. They tasted, then nodded. The gingerbread song was accepted. Wookiees swept his followers onto the sleigh, gliding into the night, satisfied with the new song. The priest smiled in satisfaction as the little girl returned the empty napkin. Next year, we'll give him milk with the cookie. The end. I really, really like that song. It's great. Very, I don't know, there's something so modest about it, and you can imagine something like that happening somewhere out there in the big world. Thank you for listening, and many blessings.
Wysteria. Energy. Twister.